this comment has a special mention for NPC Silver.
Oh
Navia's
yeah.
guards.
Them adding little side characters like that and like their quirky personalities builds upon the world even more. And I think people forget that small details like that in any video game, really, or even a TV show
Mhm.
or something, really helps build the bigger picture. It's not just the big things.
Hey everyone, it's Sevy, and welcome back to another episode of Sevy Talks, where we talk about Genshin, guests, gaming, and stories. Also, once again for this episode, I'm going to put in a spoiler warning for the Fontaine Archon Quest content. If you haven't done it yet, you will probably want to do it before diving into this episode. Today, I have a very cool, very special guest. Hello, Doro, welcome on. How are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a busy day, but now I get to relax.
You said that on Mondays you don't stream, right?
Correct. Yeah. Only Tuesday, Wednesday,
Okay.
Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wow, it's all loaded into 3 days straight. How are you feeling by Friday?
Oh my god. Not even by Friday, by Thursday night.
Yeah.
I'm super tired. Like I only stream like 4 hours per stream, and I
Hmm.
always constantly tell my community. My community knows this, but like after 4 hours, I get cranky and I'm tired like a little baby. I just can't. I don't know how some people like can stream like all day every day.
I
And
don't
so
know
by
either.
Thursday, I'm like dead. And then my weekend is just me like recharging.
At least you have your weekend straight to recharge. That
Yeah.
is much deserved and much needed
Oh yeah.
rest. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to talk about Dora. We're going to check in on how he does things as a content creator. And then after that, I have asked you for your thoughts and opinions on Fontaine over on Twitter and YouTube. And we're going to be reacting to your comments because we got some pretty interesting ones, I think. Like, we got a good balance of what's good, what's not, what hit, what's missing. So, we're going to take a look at that huge range of aspects. And thank you so much to the community for bringing all that in. So, starting off with how Doro does his content, from where I've been observing your content and your channel, you have been on a pretty amazing growth trajectory.
Mhm.
Like, it's been actually quite intense also throughout Sumeru. And one thing that fascinated me was during the quote unquote dry patches of Sumeru, where a lot of people were getting burnt out, like creators, players, everyone was kind of thinking it. You kept going
Yeah.
and kept making videos, kept streaming, kept things fresh, which is really inspiring. But I do want to ask first, how did you feel during that time? Were you also trying to avoid burnout? Was it just machine? Was it just, day routine?
Well, you just gotta power through it. I'm joking. No, I mean, I've kind of like I've kind of over the years really dialed in what works for me and what doesn't work for me, right? And so, like I said, I only stream 3 times a week, and I only play Genshin on stream. Like I'll do my dailies and stuff off stream on off days, but other than that, I don't play. Like I would love to just sit on a Friday when I'm not streaming and just explore and do all that. But I know that if I start doing that, I'll burn out on the game faster, right? Because we all know with Genshin, there's only so much that you can do until it's like you're waiting for the next patch. And so
Yeah.
I realize if I keep everything to stream, then I won't get burnt out as quick. And so during those times, I mean, as a content creator, your job is to create content. And I think the biggest test of that and like to see it like what you're made of is what kind of content you can come out with during those
Hmm.
times. And so, I turn to like fun quizzes or tier lists or just I don't know, stupid videos because like my whole motto like for my content is just to make you laugh and, kind of brighten your day up. And so that's what I did. And then I just try to find like stupid challenges or things to do to keep things fresh for people. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely like a hard time. Like it wasn't easy, but it was a
Yeah,
good
I
time because it
definitely.
really I showed myself what I had, to offer and like what I could do. Like what can I make out of nothing?
Yeah, I really felt like you were making something out of nothing during that time, which was really impressive. I was like, "Oh my god, he's still going," you know, like during that time, I was probably crawling a bit. I was thankful that Star Rail came out because then it gave me another focus. But then the way that you were able to like make stuff from playing Genshin or just like for the Genshin community that was still positive and made people laugh, like that is really, really cool. And it is a testament to probably how much you know yourself. You said that you figured out what works for you, what doesn't. How long have you been doing this, and how did that process go? Is it like up and down, trial and error?
A lot of trial and error. Ludwig said it once. He's a bigger streamer. He's like a variety streamer, but he said that like content creation is just throwing things at a wall until something sticks, and then once it sticks, just keep doing that. And ever since I heard him say that years ago, like that has been kind of like a personal motto for me. Like I'm not gonna know if this idea works unless I try it. You know, a lot of
Mhm.
creators kind of like get hung up on the before even trying thing, like, oh, it might not work, it might work, you know, the perfectionist. And I do that, but you
Mhm.
won't know until you try. And so, I mean, it took a lot of trial and error. I mean, I wasn't always a Genshin streamer, I was a variety streamer beforehand. And like at the time, I was actually doing Dark Souls games.
Oh.
And I was like, you know what? I want to find a game that I can just stick to, you know, one game, and I can make content around it and then build a community that's always getting updates and stuff. And so I was thinking about a
Mm.
bunch of different games, and then Genshin came out. I tried it, and then I kind of
That's
dropped it.
perfect.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it came out, and I tried it, and not on stream, but I was like, "Oh, this is actually kind of cool." But then I was too afraid, and then later
Ah.
down the road, a couple months later, I said, "You know what? I'm gonna actually try it because I want to just see what's gonna happen." And my viewership at the time dropped from like 40 down to like
Mhm.
25, which is still amazing, you know. But at that
Yeah.
time, that's a big hit,
Yeah.
and I was like, I was having so much fun with the game. Like I truly just did not care at that time. I was like, whatever, I like this. And
Mhm.
then I stuck with it, and now here we are. But yeah,
Mhm.
it was like even Genshin was a trial and error thing. It might not have worked, you know, but luckily it did.
It's interesting that you waited a few months to start streaming it, you said.
I was just too scared to commit. And I was like, well, I'm averaging 40 now. And like, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I'll slowly keep growing. So I'm not going to change anything. But I knew deep down I needed a change. And so I was thinking of like a bunch of games like Destiny. I'm a big fan of Destiny, or like
Mm.
World of Warcraft or whatever, right? Like a big game that gets updates. And then, well, I didn't say this to you, but I've told my community this, and it's a joke now, but like I legit mean this. I did have like I was like half asleep, half awake. It was like a dream, and it was just
Mhm.
echoey voice, Genshin Impact, Genshin Impact. It was probably like on my mind a lot or something. I swear to God, and people sometimes don't believe me, but I'm like, I swear to God, it was like a premonition. And so I was like, I woke up and I was like, fine, I'm gonna try it. I'm just gonna do it, and I did. And then my viewership tanked. I kept going because I enjoyed the game. Like I enjoyed it
Yeah.
so much that I didn't care, which was really weird. Looking back, because at that time I was so stressed about like my numbers and stuff, you know, my
Mhm.
viewership. But I was just having so much fun, and you know, fast forward now, here we are.
Sticking to it really paid off.
Yeah,
So when I talked to Dish about how she started with Genshin, she also said that she went like from variety to Genshin, and her viewership took an initial hit, like
yeah.
significantly, before it started going up and up. So that is a testament to how trying something that you are passionate about and like willing to enjoy it and make it work and like commit to it, like it can really, really get you somewhere. Were you making YouTube videos right away when you started streaming Genshin? Because I know that you did a lot of short form, like
Hmm.
your short form is what I first saw you from.
Yeah. Most people did.
Yeah. How is it going, like, going from streaming to video or, like, incorporating that into your routine?
Well, so the funny thing is, like when I first started streaming, you know, I was trying to get like the hang of being on camera, and like because I feel like streaming and making videos are two very different like skill sets, right? Like
Yes.
I see a lot of creators who have really good shorts or like TikToks or even YouTube videos, but then you go to their streams and then they're a boring streamer or they're not as entertaining. So it's a very different skill set. And so then I wanted to learn the skill set first of, being comfortable on camera and talking to chat and like my voice. Like I sometimes I go back to my first clips ever made and my voice
Mhm.
was so different the way I was talking.
Why? Was
Um
it, like,
it was like it was
high
more shy and
shouty?
shallow. It was
Oh.
just like, "Hi guys, welcome." It was, but now I just go on stream like, "Yo, what's up, guys?" Just like be myself. Like I was very like retail Doro in the
Mhm.
beginning, and now
Yeah.
it's me. It's
Retail
yeah.
Doro.
Like
I
you kind of
love
put that
that.
front on, but now I'm more
Yeah.
comfortable. I like learning a lot. And so I knew I wanted to do this and like grow and like maybe like make this a career or something. And so there's like a YouTuber named Harris Heller who was like talking about
I
like,
love that guy.
yeah, he's awesome. Um he was like talking about like, make YouTube content first and then like your streams will grow. And like everyone knows that, right? But a lot of people don't do it. And I remember in one video he said, um, people ask me all the time why I give out all these like secrets, quote unquote. And he was like,
Mhm.
because 99% of you guys aren't even gonna do it, so I'm not worried. And when he said that, it like hit me in the heart. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm actually gonna do it. And so I actually had a YouTube channel way before Genshin, and I was doing variety and stuff. I had a YouTube channel where I was actually coming out with like streamer tips and stuff. But like my approach to it was different because I was at that time I was averaging about like 10 to 20 people. But like my biggest thing was like I didn't know what to do for videos. And so a lot of people just said, just start making videos, just do it on whatever. And so I was like, I'm going to do it on this because I like teaching people. And it was a way to document myself as well because I was coming at it from a sense of like, I average 10 people right now. This is how I'm doing it. Once I hit 20, then I'll give out different like content, like this is how I'm averaging 20 and so on and so forth. And so I was making those types of videos. And then I, I got to a point after about a year of making those videos where like I had noticed people were coming into my stream, but my stream content did not coincide with my YouTube content because I was playing like Dark
Mm.
Souls, right? But then my
Mhm.
YouTube was about streamer tips and help. So then I noticed that people didn't stick around. They would pop
Mhm.
in, but then they would leave because they're like, "Oh, this is like I don't like Dark Souls or whatever," right?
Yeah.
Um, and so then that kind of hit me too, and I was like, "Why don't I just like start making content from my streams on
Mhm.
YouTube, and then it'll all coincide so that people who like the YouTube stuff, when they come to stream, it's the same content but live,
Yeah.
and then they'll probably stick around." And so, and then I also got to a point where that content was just stale. I was like, I've already told you guys like what I've been doing, and now I'm just rehashing info. I'm done. I'm gonna start a
Mhm.
gaming channel. And it was very, I always say that I've worked very hard, but there's also a lot of luck involved because this is what happened. I was like, I'm gonna start a YouTube gaming channel on Genshin. At this point, I was just starting Genshin, and I was like, I'm gonna make
Mhm.
shorts because shorts had just rolled out.
Yeah.
So I'm a very early adopter of shorts, which is where the luck plays in because I was keeping everything on one channel. And at that time, I remember people were saying, shorts aren't worth it, or you should make a completely separate channel for them, yada, yada. But I was like, I'm just going to put them all on one channel. Like, that would just make sense to me. And I was an early
Mhm.
adopter of it. And then I remember I was in line for the OLED Switch, and one of my shorts from that day like popped off to like 14K views, and I was averaging at that time like 100. So I was like, oh my
Uh-huh.
god, whoa, this is crazy. And then that motivated me like this is actually something. And so then I just posted more shorts and more shorts. And I was at that time I wasn't really posting long form videos.
Mhm.
Um because I only had time to do shorts. And then shorts really ramped up. And then at one point
Yeah.
I was gamer like of like the week for YouTube. So then that
Yeah.
really helped a lot. And then it just like all skyrocketed. And then I started like mixing in long form videos as well. And then at a point it just like the graph just was like up, up, up. And then it like really went up. So yeah, like that's kind of the journey on YouTube. A lot, some luck and good timing, but
Mhm.
also a lot of work because I'm at a point now where I have an editor and I think I have a thumbnail artist.
Mhm.
But I remember it would be I wake up, I stream, I compile all of my clips for
Yeah.
content, and then I edit my shorts, and
Mhm.
then I edit my long form videos, and then my thumbnails, and it was like 14, 15-hour days each day,
Yes.
late nights. It was god awful. Like I would not wish that upon anyone. Unless you really love it, which I do. I mean, I have to in order to be able to do that. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was a
It is
lot.
so round the clock. It
It
is
is.
so much work.
I have a funny
Um,
thing to tell you real quick. I'm sorry.
yes.
Um, my girlfriend's mom was talking me up to her coworkers, and
Mhm.
they're like, "So what does he do for a living?" It's like, "Oh, he's a streamer and a content creator, and he just got like a new apartment and yada yada and stuff like that." And it's like, and she said that one of the ladies was like, "Wow, it really must be nice to only work 2 hours a day." I was like, "Girl, I barely sleep for 2 hours." I was like, if only you knew that I worked
Yeah.
24/7. It never stops.
Yeah. It's so brave of them to assume.
Yeah.
Two interesting things there. First of all, I like how Harris Heller just said in his video, like, you'll probably not do this, and you took it personally.
I did.
and, you, and you just started. And the other thing is, like, you might call it luck, but well, luck and timing, but I find it really interesting that you actually bet on shorts. Maybe I don't know. Was it conscious? Were you like, this is gonna be a big thing in the future, or did you just like put it in there because it's what you could do at the moment? And
Well, no, because so it was weird because at first I was uploading to YouTube Shorts because I knew I wanted to be on the platform for YouTube and I needed something for my gaming channel, but I was already uploading to TikTok. And at this point, TikTok was already a big thing. And you were seeing
yeah.
so many streamers being like, I blew up on TikTok, this is how my streams grew. So I was like, I'm gonna do it too. And my TikToks were doing well, and my YouTube Shorts were not. And I was only posting the YouTube Shorts because A, I wanted to like start posting stuff on my gaming channel, but B, I might
Ah.
as well post my TikTok to
Mhm.
YouTube, and it still had the TikTok watermark on it. Like, and I learned that it's not what you're supposed to do. But so I was just like uploading it because I might as well if I'm already uploading to TikTok. And
Yeah.
then my YouTube shorts weren't doing well. Then my shorts started doing really well, but my TikToks were not. And then I got to a point where I was like
Mm.
contemplating, should I still do TikToks? So then I didn't upload TikToks for a couple months. But then I was like, dude, you might as well upload there because two views means two people saw you, like it's still
Mhm.
something. So then I just started
Mhm.
uploading to both, with shorts definitely blowing up. And I realized too that YouTube shorts viewers, the retention and like conversion is the word, the conversion from
Mhm.
YouTube shorts to Twitch streams was way higher than
Then
TikTok
TikTok.
viewers. Yeah, because like the whole platform of TikTok is built around, well, at that time it was like 15-second videos to a minute.
Mhm.
And so, but YouTube is the platform for videos like long form, but now they're adding short form. And so I
Yeah.
was getting the long form viewers from YouTube over, and they were sticking around for streams because people don't realize a stream is 4 hours and it's happening live. And
Yeah.
that means that viewer is dedicating 4 hours of their life right now to watch you. Like, that's kind of insane.
It
Um,
is.
so I realized that like the YouTube conversion was way higher than TikTok because I was barely getting anyone from TikTok. But a lot of people was like,
Mhm.
I saw you on YouTube. I saw you on YouTube. And I started seeing it more and more and more. And I was like, this is crazy. And so then that even motivated me more. I was like, I want to keep doing this. Like, let's go. So yeah.
Yeah. I remembered what you said about your girlfriend's mom's friend,
Yeah,
assuming,
yeah, yeah.
like the whole streaming thing. It's really funny trying to explain your career to older people.
It's really weird to explain it to anyone, to be honest with you.
That's true. Okay, you know what? That's fair. Anyone who doesn't watch a streamer or
Yeah.
isn't like, chronically online or like on YouTube, I have a hard time explaining to like my my older teachers, for example, whenever I
Mhm.
see them, they're like, "What do you do now?" And I'm like, "I stream," and they don't know what that means. So
Yeah.
I play games and talk to the camera, and they're just like, "Oh, okay."
Wow, that's great, weirdo.
Yeah. Exactly. I am curious how you plan out your stream content. Personally, I have like I'm scared. I'm always scared of doing videos or filming videos on stream because I'm like I never know what can happen. I never know what can go wrong. And there is a nice crazy like upside to always having something unpredictable happen like cuz you can that's good content, right? If you can work with it, that's good content. I personally have not gotten to that stage yet, but you do it really often and really well. And I'm sure planning goes into that. How does that work from like planning stage to, do you get surprises? Does How do you work around surprises and things like that?
That's a really good question. So the funny thing is I hate filming videos off stream. Like when I have to like do like an ad or like a sponsor thing, sitting there and like looking at the camera and like going off of an outline or something where it's planned, I mess up even more, which is the crazy part. And I feel very unnatural um doing it off stream and like I hate it. I dread it actually. And so for me, I love doing it on stream because I have a different energy on stream and I have all my people there and I like the unpredictability. Like I have a controlled space to a degree, right?
Mhm.
Where, I have my alerts turned off. I know exactly what I want to do, but I like having the people there to feed off of, like an audience. I did
Mhm.
theater for 9 years, so maybe that's what it is, but I really like having the audience there because I've noticed where when I'm filming like a YouTube intro on stream, like, it all comes out naturally and, like, in one take, but, like, off stream, I'll be like, "Okay, hi." Oh, man, I already messed up. "This is Dor." Oh, man, and it's just so weird. I honestly don't understand it, but
Mhm.
every Monday, so today, for instance, I'll just take you through my day. I was like, "Okay, I need a couple of videos to film this week to fill up my backlog a little bit more on my video so that I'm not worried about content." So, I stream 3 times a week. Can I get a video? Like, as long as I get one video a week, then I'm happy. But I have 3 videos I'm filming this week. And
Mhm.
so I kind of just fit it into like the stream because like I also think like just playing Genshin, I mean, as long like, if you've grown and like people know you, then you can get away with it. But I'm always trying like keep it interesting in some way. And so
Mhm.
like tomorrow I'm doing a Genshin tier list based off of like how hot a character is, right? It's something so stupid, but like
Yeah.
it'll be fun to watch. And it's also something I like to feed off of the audience. Like if I say, oh, I think Eula is S tier hot. Then I get to see people say, oh no, she's B, she's A. I feed off of that. And then it even adds to the content. So I really like that. Or like I'm doing account reviews on Thursday, and so I'm gonna make that a video. And I just kind of like fit it in because it's kind of like hitting two birds with one stone, or it also saves me
Yeah.
time because I'm getting to a point where like I realize like my time is like really precious. Like I want to spend it with my girlfriend, or I want to relax, or maybe like pick up a hobby. I know that sounds stupid, but like you only
It's
have,
not stupid.
yeah, I know. You have like one life, and I don't want to spend it 24/7 working.
Yeah.
And so if I can get my videos done on my streams, like that's just like I'm compounding everything together. But most like to answer your question, mostly it's because I love the energy on stream. I have a different energy and it adds to the content and the genuine feel of the
Yeah.
video versus like a scripted like outline video. Like some people can do like some people do that very well. Like you, for instance, like with your content calls for that, right?
Mhm.
Doing
Exactly.
guides and stuff. It makes sense to have that all planned out versus like doing it on stream where like you might get rated or something. You're just like talking about what Lynette or whatever like scales off of, right? So like for
Yeah.
some people's content, it works best that way, but for my content, the chaos works on stream versus off stream.
That is so cool. Like the chaos becomes part of your content. And it's
Exactly.
really great that that you not only work with that, but it helps you even more.
Mhm.
When you said that you did theater for 9 years, I was like, yeah, okay. I see, I understand. Um,
Yeah.
I have like some experience with theater, but honestly, I feel like the pandemic really stunted that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like if we hadn't been like shuttered into our homes for a few years, then I honestly feel like I would be a lot more confident on camera, like with an audience. So it's really good that you built that skill set and like you learned that about yourself before getting here.
Sure.
It probably helped you a lot.
It did. It did. I mean, I still get nervous though every stream, which is really funny. Like, I still get nervous hitting go live and like waiting there, or like, I don't know, like, is this stream gonna like not do as well or
Yeah,
whatever?
like is it gonna
It's always a
flop?
stress. Yeah. But the more
Yeah.
you do it, I
Cause
guess the more confident you get.
yeah, the confidence helps. I do think like the nerves, I don't know when that's ever gonna go away. I'm always like, are people gonna show up?
I do the same thing. Like, I have a good average right now, but like I still worry is like, oh my god, are people gonna show up? Like, is this gonna be like my last stream ever? Like, what's gonna happen, dude? I think that's normal.
What are your goals? Like what are your goals for content right now? I saw that you also started a podcast with Bran, and
We did,
that
yeah.
is, you two make a good duo. I gotta
Yeah,
say,
he's a
like,
good friend of mine, which is really funny because like he was actually the inspiration for my YouTube channel, which is really funny. So when I was like thinking about like, okay, I'm gonna make a gaming channel and I was gonna be Genshin. What's my first video? And I saw that like he was popping off when I was
mhm.
like about to start. Like he used to be like a Final Fantasy streamer and stuff like that. And then I saw that he was averaging like 400, 500, 600 people all of a sudden from YouTube. I was like, what? What is this guy doing? And I saw that his first video was like reacting to all of like the Genshin trailers,
Yes.
and he was my big inspiration. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start off with like I was doing shorts, but I'm gonna start off with like making like some reaction content,
Mhm.
because I guess people like that sort of thing. So he was a big inspiration, and it was funny because I remember during a live stream, I was only averaging like 50 people at that time doing Genshin, and he rated me, and I thought he was like the biggest streamer. I was like, oh my god, I just got rated by Brand, and he was like, I know you, and I was like, what do you mean you know me? He knew me from my old YouTube channel. He watched my videos on like how to grow, which I thought was crazy.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And so then we slowly started like talking to each other more, and it's to a point now, fast forward, where like he's one of my closest friends and I talk to him literally every day and I jump on calls with him all the time. Like it's kind of crazy to see how our friendship has like blossomed, and like we bounce ideas off of each other and like brainstorm like for YouTube and like streams and stuff. Like it's really crazy how like all of that kind of just blossomed into what it is. And then so then he had the idea for a podcast, and we haven't filmed for quite a while right now because we just got so busy with like sponsored stuff, and then like a lot of new Genshin content. So actually, thanks for reminding me. I need to DM him today and be like, "Hey, when are we doing this thing again?" And then I have
You're
my
welcome.
move. But people really liked it. They were like, "Yo, we actually like this podcast a lot." So we gotta do more
Yeah.
of it. But we've just been both so busy, like to the point where like we literally don't have the time to even film.
I think that podcast shows how well you two do together.
Yeah,
Um, and you know what? I'm really like glad for you that you have a close friend in this space. Like I
yeah,
know how lonely it can get,
hmm,
especially if you don't really have anyone in the same career that you know IRL.
yeah.
So that is so cool.
Like I know Mr. Beast talks about it a lot with like YouTube, right? But like it's good to have like-minded people to like talk to and bounce ideas off of, and so that you can grow off of each other and just become better versions of each other, And that's what him and I
Yeah.
have, which helps so much. Like he'll DM me. I think he DM'd me like yesterday. And he was like, hey, what do you think about this thumbnail versus this thumbnail, or like this title
Yeah.
versus this title? And we do that all the time. And then we'll jump on a call and just talk about it. And it's just like, if you're a creator out there, find someone who will do that because it'll help
True.
tremendously.
True. That is so helpful. Like getting live feedback from
Yeah.
someone who actually knows the space and the content.
Yeah.
And yeah, the social support in general, like you're gonna have rough days where you're just, I
Hmm.
can't do this anymore, or I don't know how long I can do this. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy. So having the support of someone who really understands like on a deep level what you're going through, it helps so much.
Yeah. Like a lot.
So aside from like wanting to jump back onto that podcast, do you have any long-term or short-term goals? Maybe plans for what you want to do in Fontaine? If you know you don't want to spoil content, upcoming content, that's totally fine. It could be like in general, or are you looking at anything adjacent?
Right now, gonna sound strange, but right now I'm kind of stopping and smelling the roses.
Okay.
I just moved, and like I'm kind of just trying to like chill now and just enjoy what I have and like realize like how far I've come, because I feel like a lot of creators, including myself, tend to forget. You kind of get lost in the sauce where it's like
Hmm.
you want more, more, more.
I love that. Lost in the sauce.
But
Yeah.
it's like, like a video does like really well. You get like 100,000 views on it, and you're just like, well, I want my next one to hit 200, then 300, and like you keep going. And then like if it doesn't do well, like if it doesn't get 100,000 views and only gets 90,000 views, then you're sad. And it's like, but stopping and like checking yourself is so important, because like 90,000 views is still insane, right? Or whatever. And like it's
Hmm.
good to like look back from where you came from to what you have now so they can be grateful. Because you can't be grateful for what you have now. You don't deserve to get more, so right now I'm kind of just doing that. I'm also kind of planning, though, like long-term goals is to get into more variety, which is really funny to say, but you know
Because you started there and now we're
yeah, but I mean, as a content creator who really grew off of one game, you know, you have to kind of think about the future, right? And of like, what will you do when Genshin inevitably stops and finishes? There is an end. So like, then what are you gonna do? Just like quit your career? No, like you want to keep going with it. So I want to get more into variety so that I mean, the truth be told is like when I switch over to like a different game, like I don't obviously average what I usually average with Genshin, which is normal for like every streamer. But like I think the
yeah.
more you do it, like you kind of build that core audience more and more and more. My only issue I have right now is that I'm just too scared to do it. But I got to get over that. So that's my long-term goal, is to like get more into variety and kind of build a more well-rounded community, not just like
Hmm.
Genshin centric community.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a community that's there for you, like
Yeah,
regardless of what you play and your energy.
exactly.
Okay. That's really good. I admire that you are stopping and smelling the roses, because you are right, wherein you do forget sometimes that you know what, you can take a breather for a bit. You've
Yeah,
you've done a great job these past, whether it's weeks, months, years. So that's great. And actually enjoying your new apartment. Congratulations on
thank
that.
you.
That's really awesome. It's funny that you said you're scared to do that, because you said that is like a common problem that every content creator encounters. It's like scared to try, scared to do this, scared to do that. I hope you find like the rhythm for that. And you know what, if it doesn't work out, you can always go back to your streamer tips, because I'm sure that now you
Exactly.
have so much more to give and so much more to say.
Yeah, that's true. I've learned a lot in the last like couple of
Hmm.
years now, so could always go back to that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That is amazing. And honestly, really inspiring. I feel like you have your rhythm down really, really well with how you construct your content from stream to short form to long form, and then like scrubbing through it. I do hope you get more rest in between, like as that rhythm eases up.
Trying to, at least, yeah.
And I guess for the next part of the podcast, I really want to, go into the Fontaine community opinions.
Yeah, let's do it.
I see you working a lot with community opinions and input and even live on stream, as you said. And I
Yeah.
really like how you do it. It's really great.
Well, it's all about the community, right? I mean, without them, Genshin wouldn't be what it is. Streamers wouldn't be where they're at. It's all about the community. So, like, I love like asking people on Twitter, like, "What are your opinions on this?" Or like,
Yeah.
totally not for a video, but I don't
You
know.
always get such interesting answers too.
I know. I feel like if you put totally not for a video, people are
Mhm.
more inclined to then comment
Hmm.
on it. It's like reverse psychology.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe if I do that for another episode, I'll try that because for this episode 6, I was like, I'm gonna do it for the Sevy Talks, blah blah blah. It got some good responses, but I wonder if doing the reverse psychology
I
will
mean, I
get
learned
more.
that YouTube is all psychology based. Like your thumbnails, your
Yeah.
titles, everything is psychology. So try it next time. Maybe you'll get more
All
responses or
right.
something.
Yeah, I feel like you've studied up on a lot of that psychology.
I try to do I try like I want to study more on it, but like I try to learn every day because I just want to get
Mhm.
better, right? And like I want my titles to be better. I want my thumbnails to be better. I want everything to be better. So like it's a constant like learning every day, like new techniques, new things, like mimicking what successful people already do and like trying it for yourself. It's a lot,
Yeah.
dude. But I love it. I'm a workaholic.
I do see like your numbers grow from this end, and I always imagine like how much work that is. You're approving it, you are showing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Before we get into the community comments, let's give let's put some feelers out there. Out of 10, how would you rate 4.0?
Out of 10, oh
Yeah.
man. I wanna give it I wanna be honest. I wanna
Yeah.
say 8 keeps coming to my mind, 8. Like, that's a good 8.
Yeah.
I've definitely explored the most off the bat for a new region than I have any other region. Like, I was just like, "I wanna go swim, go see what's over here, go see what's over there." I give it an 8, though, because when Sumeru dropped, that was a
Mhm.
completely different, like, biome, right? It felt more
Ah.
different in that sense, and, like, we didn't have anything like that. Like, I remember stepping into, Sumeru and just seeing the
Mhm.
jungle and like all of that. And you're just like, whoa. And you like zip for the first time. Like the amazement of that blew me away. Fontaine is
Mhm.
great, but it's just another city, right? With
Okay.
water. But those underwater swimming kind of blew me away though. So I would say an
Mhm.
8. And I really like the Archon Quest though, I will say hands down, in my opinion,
Mhm.
is the best one so far.
Okay.
What about
That's
you?
really interesting, like the way you went into the Sumeru biome thing. For me, 4.0, I'd also give it a strong 8.
Okay.
Um, but what takes away the 2 points from the full 10 is actually the Mechamele event. I
Really?
feel like yeah. I feel like I would have appreciated an underwater event to start with. I don't know if that's like too much to
Yeah.
ask or like a fully underwater event, or maybe I just wasn't as impressed with the event because it was rehashed mini games or the usual
Let's
set of
be
mini
honest,
games.
it was okay. Like, I kinda
It
skipped
was
through the story on that one too.
me too.
Yeah.
Like the guys kind of talked a lot, and I just
Yeah.
needed the rewards and stuff. So
I'm
if
gonna be
what
honest, that's how I felt with a bunch of Genshin events as of recent,
mm,
unfortunately. Like,
yeah.
I still enjoy them, but I don't know, like, they're okay.
I think that the late last Genshin event, well, the Bottle Land was really good. But before
I
that,
did like
Parade of Providence, I remember the name now with the Interdarshan event. I really like that because I really like the Sumeru characters. So
Mhm.
I guess the Mechamele event like fell flat for me because I didn't care about the characters at the point. But if it's because they put all the relevant character story stuff in the Archon Quest and then they're saving like character events for the later patches when there's no more Archon Quest, like I can
Yeah.
probably see that happening, but I just feel like the event could have been more exciting. So
Yeah,
yeah.
like, not to compare, like, too much like Genshin to Star Rail, but like I don't know, I
Mhm.
feel like Star Rail right now is really hitting hard with their events
Mhm.
and they're doing a great job with it. And I feel like Genshin, on the other hand, like Fontaine's awesome, but like the events themselves are like
They're like,
okay. Yeah, it's like I mean, aren't you the same company? Like, come
yeah.
on. Give us simulated
Yeah.
universe in Genshin.
And then you look at like the main story Archon and then Trailblaze Quest and then like Genshin is feeding you so well and
Yeah,
Hawkeye Star Rails Trailblaze Quest is also like just sprinkling it in, not really going all
exactly.
the way in
It's
yet.
like a give and
Yeah.
take between the two. It's like so
True,
funny.
like the way they're balancing it.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good baseline for how we feel about Fontaine.
Mhm.
So now let's see how the community feels. So this first comment I've got. This comment is by LKRDP9463. It talks about the architecture, which is interesting because I haven't been to Europe to be honest, so I don't
Same.
know how. Oh, okay, okay. So I don't really know how the architecture would compare. They said that everything's so big but not overwhelming. Large size is enhanced. It looks really good. Got steampunk vibes.
Mhm.
But it also has its drawbacks since we're getting into the darker mood in the Archon Quest. How the sewers underground also had an interesting vibe, and it goes with the light dark motifs. So three things there. We have the overground architecture, we have the underground architecture, and we have the darker themes of Fontaine. So,
Mhm.
how do you feel about the Court de Fontaine architecture and structure right now?
I love it because one of my favorite video games of all time ever made is called Bloodborne, and I love the
Hmm.
architecture in that game. Very gothic feel, right? Like tall buildings, like pointy edges, and that's how I feel
Yeah.
about Fontaine. Like really tall buildings. It feels like a huge city. Mondstadt was our first thing, right? And then
Yes.
Fontaine compared to Mondstadt is like crazy. You're just like,
True.
whoa, like this actually feels like a city. And you see like people walking around, you see
It
like the
does.
mechs walking around. It actually feels like a lived in city.
Yeah.
I love it. Like the vibe is so cool.
And it feels bigger than Sumeru City. Like,
It does. I think it's because it's taller, it gives that illusion.
true.
But I do
I was about
agree.
to say, the level design of it, you have to wait so long on the elevator.
I know it that elevator takes forever.
It adds to the scale, I guess, adds
Yeah.
to immersion. And then you have the aquabuses that
Mhm.
are actual, legitimate city operated transportation from one populated area to another. You know, in Sumeru, you would have to walk and zip line a little bit between
Yeah.
places. It makes the city feel more connected, I think. Like,
More
that's really
real and
cool.
connected, yeah, just like an actual city. Like, people live
Yeah.
here.
I was already impressed with how Sumeru gave us more populated areas. Like we
Mhm,
we got some centers of life there, and it also felt lifelike. I liked the design of Sumeru City, but I agree that the court of Fontaine is really blowing us away with how big it feels.
mhm.
Now the underground, which we were able to enter in Act 2 of Fontaine, it does have that dark feel. It did. I was a bit surprised it only served for the purpose of Act 2. I kind of thought there might be more under there.
I agree, like, I'd gone underground when the first day I was exploring Fontaine, and I thought it was really cool. I was like, "Whoa," like, it's like a sewer and all that, but there wasn't, like, for me at least, not that much to explore, and it was
Mhm.
more, like, story-focused setting,
Yeah.
which I
It was
guess
more
makes
setting, true.
yeah, so, like, I was a little bit disappointed
It's
with that. Like, I love the look of it, but, like, it didn't really serve
mhm.
that much of a purpose other than story setting.
The next comment, this is by Kipling was a furry. It also refers to the darker tone of the story, which the last comment did, and a bunch of other comments do. So, you know what? Let's get that out of the way now. Let's
Okay.
talk about how do you feel about that?
I love it. It's something I've been wanting for a very long time. I think I think Star Rail has been doing a very good job with their darker tone, and I was like and I remember saying, I was like, "Man, I want this in Genshin." Like, they need to, like start doing like more darker tones and stuff, because like that's I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of darker animes and drama,
Mhm.
TV shows, and movies. I want this in Genshin, and they're starting to slowly put it out, in bits and pieces, I guess, to
Yes.
like test the audience. But I'm all for it. Like I said, like this Archon Quest is probably my favorite like beginning of an Archon Quest in a very long time. Partly due to the darker tones. Like I just love that. It feels more adult. It feels
Mhm.
more is at stake, and it's
Yes.
weirdly enough, it feels more real in a sense of like
Yes.
it's not all happy go lucky and stuff like that. Like stuff is about to go down. Stuff is going down. Like you've done the Archon Quest, right? For
Yes.
Oh my god. Like that cutscene when in the courtroom, like when that thing happens, like my jaw
Mhm.
dropped and then unhinged and then dropped more. I was like, there's no way I just saw this happen in Genshin Impact.
Mhm.
Like, oh my god. And the way it unraveled, it was awesome. And I want more of it.
Yeah. It really the way it escalated, yeah.
Yeah.
It was so cool. And it kind of escalated again when that guard started dissolving. Now,
Yep.
I was kind of surprised that they actually, kept the shot on the guy.
Yeah.
Like, huh, that's a nice image of a guy dissolving. Thank you for that. I do agree that it feels more real. It's like we're dealing with real shit now,
Yeah.
We're not just dragons. Well, there are dragons, but not just dragons,
Right.
right?
It feels more grounded.
True, true. We are dealing with issues and conflicts that are more familiar to us in the real world.
Yeah.
We have issues of justice. We have people who are rich and evil,
True.
who take advantage of people, and then you have like so many levels of power, people asserting their power against each other, and I think that's really interesting. I think one point that the lore community likes to make is that Genshin has always had dark lore.
Mhm.
There's always been stuff in the background that alludes to really gross things and really disturbing things. But um, what we see now is that they are putting it out in the forefront where
Mhm.
everyone can see it and like everyone has to experience it. It's not just by choice that they look for an artifact set or they read a weapon description. No, it happens right in your face
Yeah.
where a guy gets smashed to bits.
Right. Or like, oh
Yeah.
my god, am I allowed to talk about spoilers, I guess, for the quest?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're past the spoiler point here,
Okay.
yeah.
The ending to part 2 of the Archon quest, when you take the guy to the fountain,
Yes.
I I was blown away by that. I was like, "Oh my god, you know what? I know he did terrible things, but, like, at least, I mean, his last wish, he gets to," and then it was just like, "Nope, we got
Nope.
you. Torture. You are a
We are
horrible
not letting
person,
that
and this is,"
happen.
I was like, "Dude, this is so dark. I love it. Give me more of this." But I was
True.
shocked. I was like, "Wow, Genshin's really doing it."
I was also shocked that they did that. And after the unsatisfying whatever they did to Azar in Sumeru, where they just like sent him off for community service in the forest or
Yeah.
something, like for the rest of his life, this was a lot more vindicating.
Yes. Like, a lot. I was like, I did not expect it, and by the way, free to play game, like, it's crazy. I always remind
Yes.
my chat about that. I'm like, "Guys, this is like a free to play game. This is, like, w
Hmm.
insanely good."
They are giving you these insanely shocking scenes for free.
Yes. So I'm here for it. I love the darker tone. I want more of it.
All right. Next comment we have Adam Kovacs commented, unpopular opinion. I did not find the Archon Quest that amazing, rather predictable. I
Huh.
find all other Archon quests more interesting. How do you feel about that?
I wanna know how they thought it was predictable, because to me, it was not predictable at all. Um
I think when I was doing the Archon quest and they were taking us through the um at least act 1, right, with the court case and the
Mhm.
magic show. My first guess was that um Lillian the thief did stuff Cowl in the box out of self-defense.
Mhm.
And the Archon Quest, like the mini game, right? The analyzing mini game, it first tries to lead you into thinking otherwise, that
Yeah.
Cowl did it to himself, right? So Traveler concludes that, and it makes you think that, and Paimon's doubtful. And then after you redo the whole thing with new information, the conclusion is that Lillian put Cowl in there.
Mhm.
So in that sense, I feel like it was somewhat predictable, or at least plausible, right? It was the most plausible explanation.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, people are theorizing that the entire Act One was also a sham, was
Mhm.
also a show, right? That Lyney was acting out the whole thing, and there's some more ulterior motives behind it, and I find that really interesting.
I could
But
see that.
also, if that happens, is that predictable, or is that like, is that a plot twist that's predictable, or is it like an actual plot twist, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because Genshin did just post their, like,
The
character thing.
Fatui,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it could maybe be, like, a predictable twist that's unpredictable. I don't know. Going off of this person's comment, like, the first half for me was not predictable, but the
Mhm.
second half started to become predictable in the sense of, like, I think I know, I've seen this before, I know who it is, and then it turned out to
Uh-huh.
be them. But then, like I said, then the end twisted it, and I did not expect to see
Mhm.
that happen. So
Mhm.
overall, I don't think it was predictable, at least for me, you know?
Okay. Once Genshin has started to take its darker turn, it's a little harder to predict what exactly they're going to do. Maybe in terms of story structure, once you get a sense of where things are going, you can start to predict like what's the next conclusion the characters are going to reach. But then the actual scenes and then the actions that the characters take, or what happens to them, that's an interesting and so far shocking thing to
Yeah,
play through.
for real.
Next comment. This one's by Dave Padilla. Well, this is also about dark, mature story vibes. But this comment has a special mention for NPC Silver,
Oh,
Navia's
yeah.
guards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I
Yeah.
think it them adding little side characters like that and, like, their quirky personalities builds upon the world even more, and I think people forget that small details like that in any video game, really, or even a TV show
Hmm.
or something, really helps build the bigger picture. It's not just the big things, and so I
Yes.
agree, like, Silver, and then what was the other guy's name who talks like this? He's really old, that guy. Um,
um, I also
God,
forget his name, but I
I
just
love
think of
him.
him as the butler.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But, like, that whole dynamic, that whole group dynamic, like, really just makes everything feel more real and grounded, you know? Like, these
True.
NPCs, like, actually exist, you know, in a sense of,
Hmm.
like, it's not just five-star characters running around, four-star characters, like, these little side characters that are not even playable or will never probably
Hmm.
be playable have life to them, and I love that.
Yeah, and it's really cute that they show up as Navia's sidekicks. Because, for
Yeah,
example, in the Sumeru main quest, we did get an NPC Dunyarzad who was really cool, but
yeah.
also she was a big part of the picture. You know, she wasn't just a side character.
Mhm.
She was there as a true part of the plot. But
True.
then here in Fontaine, we have the two Navia bodyguard sidekick guys, and they're there for flavor, and they're so funny.
Exactly. It's a little bit of salt right there, just
Yes.
little flavor right there, and it just really adds
Yes.
to it all. Yeah.
I agree. Like this comment, giving Silver a special mention,
Love
base, love it. Thank
it.
you. Now from Eds at Doodlemind. So this comment says, it's so pretty, and I would have hated to have the come back up for air every so often. But the underwater battles are a little one dimensional. So let's talk about like the underwater experience so far.
I was very surprised with it because it was the first thing I wanted to try when I got to Fontaine, and I wanted to see 2 things. How fast does it load going from overworld to underwater? And I play
Hmm.
on PC, so but I wanted to see
Yeah.
that, and then I wanted to see how it felt swimming around. 'Cause I was afraid it was gonna be sluggish, because
Mhm.
everyone dreads underwater like levels in video games.
Mhm.
So I was a little bit worried, but I was very surprised that I was able to just jump in the water and then just goes to underwater. Like I even did it on my phone and it does it. And I was like, how do they do this? And it really surprised me too when they talked about how they've been working on like the swimming mechanic for years. Like they've been already been planning this
Ah.
years in advance. When I was like, that's kind of
Mhm.
crazy. And I think players forget that. Like we don't just get Fontaine built in a month on their end and then we
Yes.
just get it. Like it's years of planning. And they were talking about like things like that would make the experience fun and not fun. And so I really enjoy that there is no oxygen like mechanic, because that would have
Mhm.
been the most annoying thing in the world to always have to go back up and then go back down, or like hit like a bubble that's underwater or something to get more.
Yeah.
You would be too stressed out,
Yes.
and it's kind of like dragon spine, right? When you're exploring
Yes.
dragon spine and you're always like getting
God.
cold, and no one like, and it's a meme in the community, no one likes exploring dragon spine because of that. And so it would have been the same thing with water. So I'm glad that they didn't add that mechanic. I will
Mhm.
agree though with the fighting. The fighting is very one
Yeah.
dimensional. I think the underwater exploration is phenomenal, but the fighting itself is like, eh. But I do like how you
Mhm.
can steal creatures' powers and then use the
Abilities, yeah.
powers to solve puzzles. I do like that.
Mhm.
But the fighting,
Yeah.
eh.
Creature stealing thing, it feels like it's more there to fulfill the puzzle mechanic. It doesn't really feel
Yeah.
like true combat,
Yeah.
especially with how especially with how Genshin already does its regular combat so
Right.
well.
It's a big step down.
Exactly, exactly. It is a big step down. So yeah, I agree there too. So this comment is the first one in our sequence that mentions the Pneumousia mechanics, the Pneumousia mechanics.
Mhm.
Um, and it says that they're interesting, but at the same time, feel like they could have done more with it. It doesn't feel like a requirement to succeed in battles. And I feel like this is kind of a could go either way. If it's a requirement to succeed in battles, people would be concerned about, pulling for certain characters just for that mechanic. Um, but if it's not doing much, then it's just extra. Do you feel like they've struck that balance? Do you think it is underwhelming, or that they could do more with it?
I would probably say it's underwhelming because I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't understand it fully, and it's because and I have not run into any issues regarding it because
Mhm.
my characters are very well built. I also am a whale in the game, but I'm able to just kind of unga boonga through everything. And
Mhm.
so like I really don't even understand. Like I've run into it for some puzzles, but that's it. Um
Mm.
so from my point of view, I guess it's underwhelming because it's like what
Yeah.
they said, you don't really need it. And like you don't even
Yeah.
have to be a whale. You could just build your characters that you have better
Mhm.
and just kind
Mhm.
of surpass it and like not really use it. But in the same
Yeah.
time though, do you think if they really made it a requirement for like enemies and stuff, would it put too much stress on players then?
I think it would in terms of Spiral Abyss.
Oh yeah.
Like, if that were a big thing, Spiral Abyss, or at least this Spiral Abyss, would be a lot less manageable.
Hmm.
Right now, this Spiral Abyss, in comparison to like the 3.67, those were God,
The dreaded
those were
one.
so stressful. Yeah. um, However, I think that there's still a middle ground that they could have struck, honestly.
Yeah.
Not being too underwhelming, but also not being too stressful. Maybe if it were a little more interesting than just a polar duo where it's just
Yeah.
like hit one with the other. I don't know how well. I'm not a game designer. I don't really have any ideas right now, but I think because it is as simple as that, maybe it is a bit boring, or I don't know, maybe we haven't found enemies that use it well, because right
Sure.
now it's just hit it with the opposite color and it'll turn off or something like that.
Right.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe as time goes on, it'll get more complex, maybe.
Mhm.
At least I could hope for it. But yeah, other
Mhm.
than that, as of right now, it's just like you said, it's just very simplistic, not even really necessary, but I mean,
Mhm.
the idea is there. I think
Mhm.
they just need to like implement it more in the upcoming patches.
Okay, so this one was by Kaito on Twitter, a string of comments. It was
Okay.
like a Twitter reply thread, right? So I'm going to sum it up real quick, which is that they felt like Fontaine was a letdown. And this is really interesting to me. Fontaine has gotten a lot of positive feedback from so much of the community. And we do have players who feel the opposite, which is valid. Like, you don't have to be totally in agreement or totally
Yeah.
impressed with everything that Genshin puts out, right? They said that the setup revealed way too much. The trial was a bit boring. They feel like the villains are a bit one dimensional. The entire region feels like wet Mondstadt. So there's like
Oh no.
a lot of interesting stuff there. Which one grabbed your attention first?
God, the wet Mondstadt one. Um, but also the court stuff being boring. And I mean, like you said, I mean, everyone has their opinions and everyone has their likes and dislikes. You're never gonna make everyone happy, or
Hmm.
not 100% of your player base is not gonna love what you come out with,
Hmm.
right? Because like some people like that aesthetic. I love like steampunk, gothic, like Victorian like aesthetics, which is why I love this
Yeah.
place. But some people aren't into that and they like other stuff, and so that's totally okay. Um, so I understand from their point of view because it seems like they just don't like that aesthetic and like maybe like that theme. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know because I thought like the Ace Attorney type court stuff was very refreshing, especially for
Hmm.
an Archon quest where like you get thrown a lot of paragraphs of lore and talking that I feel like it really broke up the gameplay. So yeah, I personally loved it, but I could see other people like just not being into it because they're just not into that theme.
I think that if the trial scenes weren't voice acted, and thank God they are, it would be a drag to get through.
Oh yeah,
So this commenter said that this they felt like the setup revealed way too much. That's interesting because Fontaine is trying to be a mystery. It's trying to be a detective case,
right.
right? So I wonder if it's like a difference in maybe case solving experience or like puzzle experience. Maybe this is too easy. Maybe for a player less experienced in case solving or debating or like lawyering and stuff, this is a challenging enough puzzle.
And I wonder if it's because they want to keep people like maybe they want to keep people's attention more between patches and stuff and like more
Mhm.
interested versus like not saying enough, and then people like
Mm.
kind of forgetting or just like falling off in a sense, you know. I
Okay.
wonder if that's what it is, so that like they'd rather share a little bit too much so that you can kind of chew on that for a bit between
Yeah.
patches, versus
Yeah.
not having anything, you know.
When I look at the Star Rail Shenzhou Luofu Trailblaze quest, I'm not sure if you've done it or how far
I'm caught
you're
up on
into
like
it.
the big stuff. I
You're
fought the
caught up.
big mommy lady.
The Yeah, in some ways, I do feel like Shenzhou doesn't tell us enough.
Hmm.
Like with regarding to some characters or some histories or backstories, right? So it's interesting that you pointed out, you know what, maybe saying too much or saying more than you need to can be better for people to enjoy over an extended period of time. I think that's a good point.
Right, because I think Genshin is very well aware
Mm-hmm.
of their communities and like
Mm-hmm.
the lore theorists and stuff, and like the community
Yes.
feeds itself in a sense, right? And they know that,
Yes.
and so that's my theory. That's my straw. That's my tinfoil hat theory. Or is like they'll tell us too much, knowing that lore theorists and stuff will like use that to create content and drum up buzz, and people get talking and like have their own
Oh, that's so
theories.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's psychology working
psychology.
there. Okay, this next comment, this is by Seb with an X. It also started with how they feel like the underwater combat is stale or underwhelming, but
Mhm.
they added something interesting. Maybe having an ability fusion system where if you take two abilities, they would form a fusion ability.
Kind of like an elemental reaction in a sense.
Yeah, what if you got the blubber beast and the crab shielding ability? What would that look like together? And hopefully it's not just like a literal, rehash of both abilities happening at the same time, hopefully it
Right.
does have like some reaction to it, like a fusion ability.
See, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think that would be enough to make the combat feel good because here's like going from on ground combat in Genshin to the underwater, like it just doesn't work. You can't have that same
Mhm.
combat system underwater because everyone's floating, right? And then you're
Mhm.
surrounded by water constantly, so you can't do like your reactions normally. So I don't think there's really anything they can do to make it. I just don't think players would be happy enough. Like even if they added stuff like that or like enhance the combat a little bit, you would still get people comparing it to the normal combat and be like, "Well, it's still not good
Mhm.
enough," you know? Um, but I would like
Yeah.
to see, like, them not revamp it, but just add on to it, I think just to make it more
Yeah.
interesting. Because as of right now, it's just steal ability, press button, slash,
And then try
slash,
to
and
float, dodge, swim,
yeah, that's about it. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Like Genshin already made itself a fantastic combat system and we just don't get to enjoy it underwater.
Right.
So, Apanis on Twitter replied this. So this is a mostly positive comment, and then they ended it with, "My one complaint is the new enemies. Didn't like most of the designs."
Really?
How do you feel about that?
I love the designs. I think they're so cool, like like the first and foremost, the God, what are they called? It's like the dancing boss, like the world boss, that like
Oh,
the
the
couple.
ballet suite.
Yeah. Oh my god, what a gorgeous fight that is. And like I love like the mecha enemies. I love
Mhm.
the designs. I think they're really good. I like the underwater beasts and stuff too. Like I'm actually a huge fan. I like
Oh
these designs more
yeah.
than Sumeru's enemies.
Really?
I yeah, I
The
do.
mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah, just a bunch of mushrooms, right? But no, but it's also because again, I like robots, I like mechs,
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff. So it
Mhm.
hits well for me, but not everyone's into that, right? I think they did a
I
really good
see.
job with the enemies this time, and I think they're more unique than usual, because sometimes I just get tired of
Mm.
looking at different types of monsters. We're finally getting like robots and stuff.
Yeah. Like we've had hilly trails for 3 years, so it's
Yeah.
nice to
Because it's new.
it's nice to get some metal in here. I think that the Pneumousia part of the enemy still holds it back.
Yeah.
Like that part of their design holds it back. You mentioned the underwater monsters. I love the that you have some mini bosses like in the open
Yes.
world, right? Not just Ninian and Vivian, you also have the big crabs. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've come across those,
I
but
think I've come across one.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Oh my god. It was my first time I went swimming. I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" And I went to go fight it, and he beat me up. I was like, "Nope, I gotta go. I gotta leave." Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they have some mini bosses underwater. In that aspect, the underwater combat still holds it back a little bit, but the enemies themselves, I think that they've added a little more variety, not just in the visual design and like the metal and stuff, but actually putting some interesting enemies that you can go back to that respawn that aren't like just for farming materials,
Right.
right? I would agree in terms of the numeracy mechanics, but then design wise, visual design wise, I don't mind it, and you really like it.
Yeah.
So this is another critique of the Pneumosia arc mechanic because it's not great, but they also commented on Hydro Traveler being disappointing.
I've been hearing that. I don't really play Traveler much, so you might have more
Mhm.
insight on this since you're the theory crafter, but I'm hearing that Hydro Traveler kind of is disappointing in regards to like Dendro Traveler or something, you know?
Yeah, Hydro Traveler is a it's a pea shooter from Plants vs Zombies. Basically, is
I love that game. That's
is how
funny.
my theory crafter friend and I like to talk about them. They just like point and shoot. It's honestly like so
Oh.
silly. I feel like they took the Dendro Traveler and said, okay, we have to dial it back 99%, we're going to release a traveler that is so underwhelming
Yeah.
and so silly that no one is ever going to want to play them like for legitimate reasons, and they accomplish that. I swear, when Hydro Traveler's burst comes out, it's a bubble,
Hmm.
right? It's a bubble. It just like floats, and it floats away. When that first came out, I thought it would do more. It doesn't do
Yeah.
much other than pass through enemies and like pass through the walls of Spiral Abyss. It just has its own mind.
Dang.
It's so stupid,
Wow.
honestly. Yeah. I think that saying, like commenters saying it's a little disappointing is or a bit disappointing rather, is very kind to Hydro Traveler.
That's an understatement. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
If
sucks.
you ever pull up Hydro Traveler and like try their abilities or try to do a full team abyss fight with them,
Mhm.
you'll see.
Okay, I got you. Dang,
Yeah.
that sucks. I wonder why they did that. Maybe they made Dendro Traveler so good that people weren't pulling for Dendro characters, and so they're like, make Hydro
Oh.
Traveler suck so that they can pull so people can pull for the Hydro characters.
That's a good point because in a lot of my Dendro character related videos, I would say, like, if you have a Dendro Traveler raised, you don't have to worry too much.
Yeah.
So that's true. Albatham said, Lyney ended up being a lot stronger than I expected,
Hmm.
and the events have been kind of whatever. So let's start with Lyney. Is he a lot stronger than you expected?
He is. I see. So I was gonna pull for Lyney anyway because that's our first Fontaine 5-star, and I did the same thing with Tainari for Sumeru, and I
Hmm.
love Tainari still. I think Tainari is a great unit.
Yeah.
And so Lyney, dude, I did not expect him to be that strong. Like I'm hitting some really good numbers with him, and he's more fun to play for me than Ganyu. Because I mean,
Yeah.
Ganyu used to be like the hardest hitting character or like one of, but then we got more characters, and I don't know. Ganyu for me is not that fun to play anymore, but Lenny is, and I might be because like he's new, maybe it's recency bias, but like he
Maybe it's
actually
the
just feels
cat.
good. Maybe it's the cat. I do like cats, but I don't know. He's just fun. It's fun to see the big damage numbers, and then like his
Hmm.
magician animations. The animations really kind of put everything together,
Yes.
but he is
Yes.
definitely more powerful than I thought, especially with my C6 Benny.
I do agree that Lyney is funner to play than Ganyu. I think it has to do with the well, for me, it's the rhythm of his rotation because with Ganyu, you put out her skill, and then if you're in a melt team, you usually don't even need to use her burst. You
Yeah,
just skill and then charge shot, charge shot, charge shot. But with Lyney, you can do his burst and then you charge shot, charge shot, charge shot, and then he finishes it off with a bang with his skill, and
yeah,
then you go on him again. You can turn him into a cat. I think that's really cool. And he does easily hit 6 digits, which is impressive.
yeah. I didn't expect it.
Yeah. Usain said details of birds and underwater creatures. Okay, the underwater creatures flat out, like real quick, they are really cute.
Mm-hmm. I 100%. They're so cuddly. Like,
Hmm.
God, what's that one? It's like a seal that you can feed every day. I don't know if you.
Berry Puff.
Yeah, Berry Pup. Oh,
Yeah.
adorable. Yeah,
Yeah, Berry Pup is so cute, and he just it's nice that you can just keep coming back to
they
him.
did a really good job with the designs.
All right, this is a funny one. This is by Eternity449. It
Okay.
says, I like that the puzzles are all kind of unique and confusing because when I go watch random streams, it's fun to see them struggle with the same puzzles. And I feel less stupid for being confused in the first place.
That's funny. See, I'm known for being really bad at puzzles, so
Hmm.
yeah, I get it.
How does your community go with you when you start, flopping at puzzles?
Oh my god, they will
Are
not let.
they the
They don't let me live it down. Like they'll just like what's the word? They'll mock me in a sense and like just make fun
Mhm.
of me. And it's like I'm trying my hardest. It's like, oh my god, he's not aware. I'm like, I'm trying. It's hard when you have
Yeah.
an audience watching you versus like doing it by
Yes.
yourself.
For me, I always prefer them to just mock me than trying to teach me how to do it.
Oh, the
I'm like,
backseating. Yeah. I
I'm like,
don't like
no,
that either.
we're gonna get there eventually, you know. Just enjoy people looking stupid
Just let me
for the
cook,
meantime.
okay?
I'm glad that people enjoy watching each other struggle because
Yeah,
for me, I would just rather keep that. The last part of this comment I want to bring up. Thank you, Alvaro, for the comment. The new animations on the character panel are cool, but some are super cool and others feel like I got robbed. Now, you have reacted to
I have.
these. And
Yeah.
right off the bat, real quick, which ones got robbed?
Beto's is the worst one because I think they could have done so much with her. Like she could have like took a swig of something and then like thrown her bottle, like wipe her like a pirate would or something, and like some attitude
Yeah.
to it. I think all she does is like turn around. She just goes, "Hi." Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, what was that? Same thing with Shao. I thought Shao's was also kind of boring because he just goes, oh. I'm like,
Mm,
that's all you did? Like, I don't, but then because it's not consistent because then you get like Shang Ling who does a freaking cartwheel and then
yeah.
Guoba burps. I'm like that's amazing. Or like Lyney's whole thing. Like some of them are
Yeah.
really good, and then the others are just like, that was it.
I am kind of sad that all that Al Haytham does is close a book and turn around. You
Yeah.
know, it's on brand for him, but come on, man.
Like you could have done something way cooler. Like,
Exactly.
remember his animation, in his trailer where, like, he, like, touches, like, his, like, ear or something and, like, he, like, turns? It could've been
True.
something cool like that, but no, he just, "Oh, yeah, I'm done. Okay, cool."
Yeah. Yeah, and Jung Lee also does turn around. Like I told my chat, why are my husbandos having the most boring animations? And I
Right.
swear, Nivelette is probably gonna come with a super boring one too.
Probably. Ito's was pretty
Like,
cool, though, I think, from what I remember. I think he, like, kicks his club or something. I can't
yeah,
remember, but I thought his was pretty
true.
interesting.
His at least they give his personality, which is well deserved.
Mhm.
Okay, this is interesting. RK Nancy said, I get the feeling we are going to see something really ugly in future Fontaine exploration. Underwater is new, that's why they made it simple and fun. Once they get to the gritty part of Fontaine, I think everyone will curse this game.
Interesting. I could see that. So, like, if which trailer was it where you see Farina like crying by herself? And it's like all like gray and dark.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that was the version trailer.
yeah, what if we get something like that where like it's like some
Ooh.
story beat or something, or like the prophecy does happen, and then we have
Hmm.
like this kind of reminiscent of Inazuma place that was kind of
Yeah,
dark.
it would have been Encademia, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So something like that where it's like a dark, gritty place to like explore. I could
Yeah,
totally
and a
see
lot more
that.
dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could totally see that, and I would love that.
I hope we do get that. I wonder if it is going to make us curse the game. All right, so this next comment makes a comparison between Sumeru and Fontaine. Alvin Cruz commented, everything I hated about Sumeru is what made me fall in love with Fontaine. The long Archon Quest of Sumeru was so slow paced and boring, but Fontaine Archon Quest is long and very intriguing with unpredictable plot twists and cool cutscenes. Sumeru is so big, had so many underground places, you get lost easily. Fontaine, if you're lost underwater, you can just rise to the surface. Also disappointed by some Sumeru 5 stars, but feel like they'll be releasing OP characters in Fontaine. So, what do you think here, especially with the whole Sumeru comparison?
I mean, Sumeru gave us Nahida, who's like one of the most OP characters in this game. So I don't
That's
know.
true.
Like, no, I mean, I agree on a lot of that stuff actually. Like, I think Sumeru's Archon Quest was definitely a slow burn and a very slow start, but then it really paid off lore wise. Like, it
Mhm.
was, God, it was very long. And I remember people were like, dude, like all the content creators were just like, dude, this thing is like a long Archon Quest. Like, what is going on? And it was definitely a slow burn, but it definitely paid off and I really liked it. But I do like the
Mhm.
pacing of Fontaine's. And I think they're learning
Yes.
of like, okay, we can do it quicker in a sense.
Big
And
agree.
yeah, and like all the plot twists and stuff. So I agree with that for sure. I do like the exploration in Fontaine with the swimming and stuff. But I'm gonna say something weird. I think I might have liked the exploration in Sumeru more.
Mhm.
just because I guess it was bigger in a sense, and like a whole new biome, like I said earlier. So it felt more
Yes.
new versus like Fontaine does feel new, but it is just another city with like a new coat of paint. And then a
Yeah.
completely new biome. But the underwater exploration is really good too.
Wet
Um,
Mondstadt.
yeah, Wet Mondstadt. I thought Sumeru's 5 stars were really good.
I also thought Sumeru's 5 stars were really good. I mean, of course, the community felt let down with Dia, but,
Yeah, yeah.
um, I think the other 5 stars there were solid. We got Nahida, and we got Alhaitham, and we got, like, a lot of other good ones.
Like Nilu,
Um,
yeah.
this is Antiquus Custos. Quality of life improvements, pathetic. That is
Oh
hilarious.
no.
Aside from the character animations and team page revamp,
Yeah.
what did we get? What we got the map, we got the multi-layered map.
The multi-layer map is nice, and I think that is it. I have shared my opinions on this, and I already see what they said
Yes,
about
you had
resin
a
and
video on that, yeah.
yeah, artifact loadouts is a huge thing. Um and it really confuses me because not to keep comparing it, but like Star Rail is like coming out with so many like quality of life things very quickly.
Mhm.
Like we just got resin, I don't know what it's called in that game, I forget, but resin like reserve, which is cool. And then they
Yes.
even got more resin to use, and like
Yeah.
that game's only been out for 4 months. It's been 3 years, dude. And like it
Yeah.
really confuses me as to why they just don't do it. Like they're and it would be nice to, maybe get answers as to why we haven't gotten it versus just like being quiet when the community and even content creators are so vocal about it of like
Yes.
resin or like artifact loadouts. Like, but like, don't you think at the same time where they keep adding more regions, more bosses, more enemies, more
Mhm.
characters, you would increase the precious thing that we call resin so that we can farm more, because like a
Yes.
lot of people are F2P, like I use my primos for resin, and it's because I feel
Mhm.
like I have to, and I make content on the game, right? But like a casual
Yeah.
like F2P player, they'll never do that. They're just like, no, that's
Yes.
too much. So if you want to keep them coming back, I would think give them more resin, or if anything, increase our condensed resin and let us hold it for like longer or
Yes.
something. So that we can like come back on a certain day and like really go ham like farming on one day or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I do think like the whole resin issue, I would love to see them improve that. You're right in which if they can make it easier then it will at least let players enjoy more because even if they are um keeping us immersed in the open world, it's only up to a point where we can just take so little quality of life improvements. So, quality of life improvements in 4.0 pathetic? Yes, no.
I wouldn't say pathetic just because of like the menus and like stuff, but that's not really a quality. I mean, I guess it is a quality of life, but like it's like a flashy thing. So it's like,
Mhm.
eh, it's
Eh.
meh.
Yeah. All right. We have this comment. This one's by Breck667. The bubble diapers is such a negative to water exploration.
Well, you know how you can get around that? You can just aim with the character and the bubble goes away.
Really?
I made a short on it where like if you aim like in an attack, like the
Yeah.
girls will like put out their butts and then like it's just the bubble's gone but then the guys are like flat as a board but the bubble goes away and that I think I titled it like how did Genshin Impact miss this or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That's so
It makes
funny.
no sense.
I can't believe they put that there. It's literally if you're out of the water, you can literally just, what's the difference?
Well, it's funny because like when you're like gliding, there are certain
Mhm.
characters that like you can see, right? And so they
Mhm.
were like, okay, well, while we're swimming, we need to put a diaper so that you don't see up their skirt or whatever. But it's like literally like you can see. like when you're like flying. So like you don't
Yeah.
have like a leaf diaper when they're like flying. So I don't know. It's like very inconsistent with what they do.
Yeah, a leaf diaper. Oh god. That'd be so silly. Um and that is actually the last comment I threw in there.
Oh my god, what a comment to end on. That's so funny.
And generally, I gotta say, because of course I only like handpicked these, um, because I felt like they were interesting and strong opinions, but the community had a lot of positive feedback for Fontaine.
Yeah.
Like overall, it's a general net positive. I'm sure you could say the same thing from your community, right? Like it's been a lot
Oh
of like
yeah. A lot of people in my
yeah,
community have been loving it. I don't know if they've been liking it more than Sumeru, but overall, like everyone says they love Fontaine, which I'm happy to see.
it's good that Fontaine has started us off really, really fresh. Um, and it's been fun looking at these comments with you.
Mm-hmm. Some good
I
ones, yeah.
learned a lot about your preferences for like exploration and world and characters,
Yeah.
and enemy design and stuff. So that was really cool. I hope we just keep getting like more mechs and more interesting combat. Hopefully,
Darker tones.
um,
Give me more darker
darker
tones.
tones. Exactly. Doro, before we send off the podcast, I always ask my guests to give a little bit of advice to the listener. So it can be on any topic that you want, can be for creators, can be for players, can be for anyone.
Man, for creators, I would say have fun, care about your community, and definitely start YouTube. As for like the general Genshin community, remember that this is a video game, and the point of a video game is to have fun with it.
So true. I just gotta appreciate you for how much fun and laughter you bring with your content also.
Oh, thank you. I
It
try.
really helps a lot with keeping the fun in the community. And I am so like inspired by how much you've done to get there and go there and how much you keep going. Yes, definitely stop and smell the roses. Be proud of what you've done, because it is so much. So
Yeah.
congratulations on progress so far and everything you've accomplished.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on the podcast today. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. You were one of the super requested guests from my community, actually.
Really? I
So
didn't know that. That's so
yeah.
what? That's cute. That made my night.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment down below on maybe your strong opinion or hot take of Fontaine if you weren't able to leave it on any of my previous posts where I asked about this, or which comment in particular might have made you laugh. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave a like, consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and please, please go subscribe to Dora's channel if you haven't yet, and visit him on Twitch. Go say hi. You'll definitely find him there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as you said.
Yes.
Very, very consistent.
Yes.
And if you're finding this podcast for the first time, you can find it on YouTube and Spotify, and drop your comments here on YouTube. So I don't have any teasers for the next episode right now, but rest assured Sevy Talks will be back in version 4.1 to talk about the upcoming content with more guests. So once again, thank you so much, Doro, for coming around. You've been a blast. It's been really fun having you, and I would love to have you again soon in the
Of
future,
course.
actually.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
We'll see you soon. Take
Bye.
care.